What's up, everyone? Welcome once again to the channel. It's your boy Luis, and just like I promised, today we're going to be talking about the Miss World 2024 head-to-head challenge, more precisely about the top 5 winners. I know yesterday I made a video about Gwen, Miss Philippines, because I received an overwhelming amount of requests about it, of messages. But as I promised, I would also do the same type of analysis and commentary for the girls who actually managed to make the top 5 and therefore advance automatically to the Miss World top 40. These girls are, of course, Botswana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, England, and Lebanon. I'm going to say I'm really happy to see so much recognition here for Africa because it's a continent that normally is very underrepresented in pageantry, not just at Miss World, but in a lot of different pageant systems all over the world. Same thing for Lebanon. We usually don't see a lot of Middle Eastern countries doing well in pageantry, so it's very refreshing to say the least. Now, as usual, you know the drill. I'll just bring up the video. We'll talk about the girls, what they have to say, and I'll give you my comments and opinions. If you find this some sort of value in this video, some entertainment, go ahead and drop a like, a comment, subscribe to the channel, follow me, and share this video with a friend. All right, so enough talking. Let's get the videos here and let's start reacting.
And we begin with Botswana, Lesego Chombo. And Lesego, after completing her degree in law, Lesego is currently practicing as an attorney at the High Courts of Botswana and has ambitions of opening her own law firm. So give a warm welcome to Botswana.
One thing I'm just gonna say about Miss World Girls is that they have incredible backgrounds, lots of projects, of ambitions, and it's so refreshing because I think it's one of the very few pageants that really focuses on kind of like mostly the intellect of the girls and what they have been doing with the communities rather than purely the looks, right? It's still a beauty pageant, but
Thank you.
you know.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning. It's such an honor to be seated at this table. And today I'm looking forward to sharing my few legal nuggets, or wisdom nuggets rather, on sustainable development goals. You know, poverty really breaks my heart. But what breaks my heart even more is generational poverty in the most rural communities. Communities that aren't able to see beyond the living conditions because that's all they know. That's all that forefathers have known. See, I have met these communities and I work with them on a daily basis. And I'm of the opinion that it's going to take numerous lifetimes before these communities get to experience financial freedom. And as disheartening as that fact may sound, it has made me think that there is a need to mitigate the living conditions of poverty-stricken communities by helping them and tackling other developmental opportunities over and above economic empowerment. And I'm very proud that my Beauty with a Purpose, the Genesis Project, has found a formula that creates sustainable development for economically disadvantaged communities while taking into account their limited financial means.
I find it really interesting that she's talking about poverty, not just from a single perspective, but from a generational perspective. Because, of course, poverty can be seen almost as a vicious circle because of the access to limited resources, to the limited access to education as well. It's very hard for children who are born within impoverished families to get themselves out of that situation. It's a cycle that is very difficult to break, basically. So, I think it's very refreshing because we often hear about all of these things, like, oh, like because I was born poor and this and that, but we rarely talk about the generational aspect of it and how if you are born in a poor family, you are most likely to end up within the same situation.
We run a developmental program that equips parents with the necessary skills and behavioral attributes of how to create a conducive environment for the economic, physical, social, mental, and cognitive development of their children. And we do this because we know that it applies to 5 sustainable developmental goals. That is quality education, healthcare for all, ending hunger, ending poverty, as well as implementing goals and strengthening global partnerships. we have intimate conversations with parents in economically disadvantaged communities where we talk about issues such as nutrition in order to end hunger and deaths caused by malnutrition in alignment with Sustainable Development Goal number 2. We also have conversations about creating a healthy home space in order to ensure that we reduce deaths and we reduce preventable infections in alignment with Sustainable Development Goal number 3. And while taking into consideration the illiteracy of these communities, we teach these parents how to nurture their children's education in order to promote sustainable education. And this is in alignment with Sustainable Goal Development number 4. And because we are so passionate, under the Genesis Project, we're very passionate about sustainability. We work with communities and with stakeholders in the community in order to implement this project. We also get funding from national and international organizations such as Standard Bank Botswana and Khoimatau Copper Mine in order to align ourselves with Sustainable Development Goal number 17 in order to strengthen implementation and our partnerships.
Okay, I'm gonna stop for a moment because I have a lot to say, and I think that she's just going on and on and on. First of all, this girl really knows her stuff. She is quoting here the SDGs right in for like it's like she has studied this. She lives it. Like you can tell that she knows her stuff basically. Apologies. I really love the fact that first of all, her entire strategy is based on a better understanding of the situation of these families. I mean, earlier when I was talking about the cycle of poverty, I was referring to education, but realistically, it's very hard for impoverished families to focus on quality education and investing in education when in reality they are still facing some challenges that might seem even that need their attention, that need their financial focus even more. For example, having a roof over your head, having clothes to wear, having food to feed yourself and your children. So I think that when you look at it from that perspective, education almost seems like a privilege, like something that will come second after all of your basic needs are met. So I love the fact that her organization and her initiative doesn't just address education, but also kind of focuses on all of the different essential needs that we have as humans to make sure that then we can wholeheartedly focus on education, and at the same time that she is really linking every single one of those aspects to the SDGs that are proposed, and that most of the beauty with the purpose projects are all about. But I love the fact that she is so eloquent about it and she knows exactly what she's doing.
I truly believe that teaching these communities about day to day and practical skills, behavioral attributes that they can practice on a normal day is the key to end poverty and to
Mhm.
strengthen, to fulfill, to pursue, to achieve sustainable development goals at grassroots level. And I think that this lesson is the bridging gap that these communities really need in order to have justice against poverty. Thank you.
Mhm. I think that, I mean, she summarized it beautifully at the end when she said that this is the bridging gap in order to get rid of poverty. Because again, I don't think that just focusing on one aspect is going to solve the issue. Perhaps tackling these things one thing at a time might relieve or make it better. But to really eradicate it and take care of it once and for all of these basic needs need to be addressed as well, to make sure that then the parent, the family, and the kid can wholeheartedly focus on quality education and getting themselves out of that poverty cycle, right? So very good for Botswana. She's so beautiful, so eloquent, and my gosh, I can definitely see why she's up there in the top 5. Let's move on now to the next candidate.
Thank you, Botswana. So a very warm welcome to Nigeria.
All right, Miss Nigeria.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. It's such an honor to be here.
I love what she's
When I
wearing.
was 7 years old, I watched the movie Honey for the first time.
Okay.
It's a movie about Jessica Alba. That was my first encounter with her. And I fell in love with her and her character in the movie, so much so that I wanted to be an actress and a dancer. However, I did not know that when Jessica Alba was really young, she battled severe asthma, she battled pneumonia, she battled really terrible health concerns and was in and out of the hospital. But she made it out alive thanks to healthcare. In my continent of Africa, there is Desmond Tutu, who did phenomenal in his work against the apartheid. So much so that he got the Nobel Peace Prize Award in 1984 for his recognition of his work. But when he was young, at 12, he had tuberculosis, but he made it alive thanks to healthcare. I'm sure you know where this is going. Also, Sean White, he's a gold Olympic medalist. And when he was a baby, he suffered from really terrible heart issues and had to undergo 3 open heart surgeries. But he made it thanks to healthcare.
Okay, so I kind of see where this is going. Her project is all about healthcare, and not just any healthcare, but quality healthcare, and how some of the most amazing people who had an impact in our lives wouldn't be here without us if it wasn't because of that quality healthcare. I love that this is almost like storytelling. She's telling us a story of people who inspired her, just giving us, like fun facts and historical facts without necessarily preaching just yet about what the Beauty with a Purpose project is, just to give us perspective into how important healthcare is compared, when you compare it to someone that has impacted you in your lifetime. So far so good. Let's see where she goes with it now.
When I was 11, I suffered severe malaria. In my country, it's just malaria, but I thought I would die. But I'm here thanks to healthcare. I believe that health is the anchor to all things. A sick person cannot be educated, a sick person cannot go to school, a sick person cannot walk or have access to a beautiful life. And that is why I took a detour in my project after giving 100 scholarships to children to switching it to health when I realized there was a need for me to step in for cysticercosis in my community. And I will say this, we are all seated here with our beautiful dreams. We have access. I just look at every woman here and I see survivors, people who are healthy, who are beautiful, and we can achieve these our dreams because we're healthy. And even if we're not healthy, because we all have our hidden battles, you have access to quality healthcare for you to be sustained to be here. But who speaks for those who don't have access to healthcare? What happens to their dreams? What happens to them? That is why I shout loudly at the top of my lungs, at the top of my voice for healthcare. In 2020, the world crumbled because of the COVID-19. And it talks about the interconnectedness of all of us. How a disease that started in one place spread across the world and broke down economies and shut down nations. How prepared are we for the next endemic? God forbid, but how prepared are we if that happens? And that is why I join every single person, every single nation, 117 of us seated in this room to fight for healthcare and to speak for the access for people who are deserve. Every life is deserving. Everybody deserves a chance and a shot at life. Thank you so much.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about Miss Nigeria for a moment. I thought that this was such a good presentation, so efficient. Um, when I compare it, for example, with the first one with Botswana, I think that Miss Nigeria's approach is more kind of like making us realize the importance of healthcare, focusing on it, making sure that everyone has access to it, that is quality healthcare, rather than what she has done to promote healthcare or like support healthcare in her country. She did mention briefly, that she collaborates with this and that and whatnot. But I feel like other girls, not just the ones in this clip, but other girls who also presented during the head-to-head challenge, almost make the head-to-head challenge to be like their Beauty with a Purpose presentation, which it shouldn't be. This is just kind of a debate. It's a conversation type of thing, and you're just basically showing that you can stand your ground in a room full of people, very similar almost to like a political setup, right? So I think that Miss Nigeria, honestly, I have to give her props, applause, because this was a home run. So beautiful.
Healthcare and to
Hello, everyone.
Miss
I am
Zimbabwe
very
now.
grateful to have this opportunity to speak to you all. You know, it hurts me so much to know that on one part of the world, we have food waste lacking the planet. And on the other side, we have got people who are living in extreme poverty.
Mm.
Let's move our faces to the numbers for a little bit. Did you know that approximately 820 million people are living in extreme hunger and poverty? It could be due to conflict, due to climate change, due to economic shocks. But I found a solution. And let me tell you something. Behind every statistic, there is a story of a community living in poverty, a story of a family struggling to put food on the table,
Okay.
a story of a child who is malnourished, a story of a child who cannot go to school because of poverty, a story of a child who goes to bed hungry, a story of a child who is dying of hunger, and we speak about children are the future. Well, I do have a solution to the problem of hunger and food insecurity. And I am a testament to the power of that solution: sustainable agriculture. I come from humble beginnings, and I'm not ashamed to say that. We have
Okay, wait.
small.
I'll just stop this for a second because honestly, I didn't see this coming. I thought, when she started talking about world hunger and all of that, I thought she was gonna go more towards the route of, how one side of the world is overusing and the other side is, not even has enough. But I think that she's going now more towards the sustainable agriculture side of things, which I can of course see how this is a solution, but it kind of took me by surprise. So I'm really curious to see how she's gonna propose, like, sustainable agriculture on a massive scale to feed 820 million people, since these are the stats that she's actually quoting in this
Agricultural projects at
presentation.
home. I've got a small vegetable garden. I've got a small poultry project. I've got a small maize field in our yard. A very small yard, but we have all that in there to sustain for ourselves, to be able to put food on the table. Not only that, but mind you, I'm a student in university, and my school fees comes from those poultry projects that we have at home. Sustainable agriculture is not only about putting food on the table, it is a means of generating income, hence eradicating poverty.
Hmm.
One thing I want to tell you all is we need to work together. I formed the Thrive Sustain Aid Network in order for me to empower vulnerable communities, because I know the solution to eradicate hunger. I know the solution to food security, and I want everybody who faced the same challenge as I faced to also have the solution and be able to implement it in their lives to eradicate hunger in their households. I formed the Thrive Sustain Aid Network and partnered up with the government and the Ministry of Agriculture in my country through the Department of Agritech, and I invited an agronomist who happens to be my mother to come with me on my outreaches to teach people on sustainable agriculture. We donated
Hmm.
foodstuffs, we gave them seeds and fertilizers for them to plant and sustain for themselves in the future. We need to work together and build up connections as different countries. We need to build connections. We need to work together. We need to work with governments, non-governmental organizations, the World Food Program, to help each other eradicate this problem of hunger. One earth, one family, one future is not just a mantra. It is a promise we all must fulfill. One thing I
Wow.
wanted to
Wow, that's such a powerful message. And it kind of resonates with me because just a few days ago, I was watching this documentary on YouTube about, sustainable farming and sustainable agriculture in Africa, in countries that are near the Sahara desert. So basically, they were just talking about how they can revive the land to allow the communities who live in these areas to feed themselves, and not only um, get food and vegetables and fruit, but also, as Ms. Zimbabwe was explaining, to also have like a source of income, to make money out of these things, to be able to sell, to trade, to establish some sort of commerce that will give them a livelihood. So sometimes when we think about, sustainable agriculture, we think about, feeding ourselves, or maybe, especially in like a Western setup, we think of more like an independent living type of thing, but it can also be a way to fuel communities, to give them, ways to make something for themselves, not just feed themselves, but also build something for themselves. So very good point so far.
tell you is When we feed the world, we feed the future. Thank you.
While her feet are still on the
All right,
ground.
Miss Zimbabwe ended right on time. I mean, the moderator was already calling time. It's been, I think they have like 3 minutes for their presentations. So she was able to finish it right after that. So very good with the timing and very, very relevant presentation during the head-to-head challenge. Now let's go to Miss England. Let's see how she did. And no pressure, but she is representing the home country of Miss World. So a little bit of pressure though.
Must fulfill. One thing I want to tell you is when we feed the world,
Okay.
we feed the future. Thank you.
While her feet are still on the ground, England.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity today to speak in this wonderful venue in a wonderful country about a topic I am so incredibly passionate about. Today I'm going to be talking about climate change, but primarily that caused by the aviation sector. Now, climate change has a significant impact on our health, our agriculture, and our food security. And although the global aviation carbon emissions stand at just 3% out of the 100%, the exponential growth of the sector means that this is set to rise to 25% by the year 2050.
Wow.
So it's really important that now we implement new technology in order to beat these statistics. Now, as I'm sure you're already aware, CO2 in its rising levels is bad for our planet. Human activity has raised the atmosphere's CO2 emissions in the past 200 years by 50%, which is an absolutely crazy statistic. And global warming caused by carbon dioxide warms up our planet. It affects our crop growth, it affects our health, and it affects our weather. So we've got natural disasters happening, floods, fires, things which are affecting human sustainability on planet Earth. Now, the solution to decarbonisation lies within science and engineering. Hydrogen fuel is posed as the future of sustainable aviation, but like any new form of technology, it's going to be expensive to start up before it can be optimised for the masses. Luckily for us, hydrogen is abundant on planet Earth. But in order for aircraft to be powered by it, we must reimagine current configurations. And this means addressing energy production, logistics, the capture and storage of hydrogen, and also knowing that hydrogen burns faster and hotter than kerosene, which means we massively need to modify aircraft, which is a massive task for aerospace engineers. Now, I think a lot of people think of technology and they think of something which is handheld or potentially software, but technology can be the size of an aircraft. The main challenge facing engineers is to understand new fluid dynamics, structural mechanics, and the phenomena a modified jet would encounter. Phenomena could include thermoacoustics, it could include flashbacks, and it can include thermal gradients. And I'm aware that I've only got 3 minutes to speak on this issue today. So if anybody has any questions regarding any of those things a little bit later, please come and speak to me and I'll do my best to explain them to you. In brief, hydrogen is the future. It's just going to take us a little while to get there. And this is caused by lacks of funding, but more than anything, a lack of people going into these sectors. And this is why it's of paramount importance that we encourage the next generation into science, technology, engineering, and maths to sustain human life on planet Earth. Thank you.
All right. So I just want to mention a few things here about Miss England, because, of course, we have to recognize she is an expert within her field. Okay, this is one of her strengths. This is one of the things that all of us pageant fans have been praising about her ever since she won the title for Miss World England. Now, extremely relevant topic. I didn't know that. First of all, the aircraft, the airplane industry, generates 3% of the pollution, and is responsible for the emissions, that have an impact on climate change. But also, I didn't know that by 2050, it's going to be responsible for 25% of those emissions. That's already something huge, and it just proves how relevant her topic is. One thing, maybe if I could provide some sort of feedback that I would say is, like, most of the other girls who had the chance to speak so far, if you notice, they have some sort of like storytelling, or they relate it to their own stories. And this is very important for me personally, because it just not only makes it relatable, but also it makes it accessible to some people who maybe don't have the knowledge or the tools to really understand all of the fancy scientific terms that you're using. So that would be my only feedback to her if she was to make a presentation that is not, let's say, like in this type of room. Because, of course, it's safe to assume that all of the girls, or at least most of the girls in the room, understand what she's saying, like can follow up. But this is also a live stream, worldwide live stream to a bunch of people who don't always have the same ages, same backgrounds, same education level. So it's important to still manage to deliver your message in a way that it's accessible to most, right? So that's my only feedback. But other than that, brilliant presentation. All right, let's go up now. Last but not least, let's talk about Miss Lebanon. And I'm really curious to see her presentation.
Please welcome Lebanon.
Marhaba everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so honored to be representing my country and the Middle East. You girls are so special. Each and everyone here is different. But there's one thing that's common between all of us in this room, all of us in this world, which is humanity. We all have the same human feelings. We all know what's like to be happy, what's like to be sad, what's like to be angry, hungry. We all know these feelings. And listening to all of your stories made me so emotional, especially Miss Belgium. I love you so much, and I know that you're so strong. And I come from a country where I know what's like to fight for your human rights, for your basic human rights. That's why I chose sustainable development, because I know this is the only solution for all the problems. I've heard all of your stories, and there's always a solution for everything. But all of these solutions are under one umbrella, which is sustainable development. What is sustainable development? It's a universal call for action for everyone. So we can stop poverty, we can stop hunger, and we can protect our planet so everyone can live with dignity. Why is it important? Because it's a roadmap for everyone, so we can help each other and everyone can live with basic human rights. Imagine like there's people in this planet with $200 billion, but there's still children next door that can't afford food and fighting to drink water. While the world leaders are fighting over power, money, fuel, there's women being killed under the name of honor killing. While everyone is watching, the world is watching, there's wars going on and on. There's innocent people that are being killed, and that's unacceptable. That's why I want to ask you, are we losing humanity? I'm scared to lose humanity, because this is all what we need as a human, to have humanity. I'm sorry, I'm so emotional.
She's clearly super, super emotional when it comes to this entire topic. And I mean, I can relate to this. I mean, right now the state of the world is so crazy that it feels like we're almost not human anymore, or like we are in like self-destruction mode. But I like that even dealing with so many emotions, she's still able to put her ideas together in such a way that it's so cohesive, that makes so much sense, and that at the same time she is acknowledging everyone's speech and just saying that all of these things that we're talking about during this entire presentation. Keep in mind, again, the head-to-head challenge was over 2 hours long. That it all goes back to sustainable development and taking care of ourselves, taking care of the planet, making sure that we are decent human beings. And you can tackle so many different issues with this perspective, with this approach, whether it is agriculture, whether it is human rights, whether it is just war and peace and so much more, right? So I think that the flare of emotions is very justified, and anyone who would be in that position, in such a platform, talking about such important things, would also be very moved by it, right?
I believe like everyone, everywhere in this planet, no matter what they come from or who they are, they deserve to have basic human rights. They deserve to have clean water, healthy food, electricity. They deserve to have access to education and to health care. Life is unfair. And like Angelina Jolie said once, there's women out there with same abilities as me, maybe prettier than me, smarter than me, stronger than me, but she sits in a refugee camp with no voice. So I'm her voice. I'm here for them and to protect them and to be here for them. So, sustainable development is our mission. All of us, not just mine. It's all of us. It's our responsibility. Because those people don't have a voice. We are their voice. And we're not waiting for any leader or decision maker to step or to do the first step. Because we are the leaders. And it's our responsibility. You are the leaders. Because we don't just talk, but we act. Shukran.
Grabe. That was such a brilliant presentation, full of emotion, and I feel like perhaps the most honest one, the most like unrehearsed, and really just delivering what's on your mind, what's on your heart, most importantly. Let me know, you guys, what do you think about the 5 winners of the head-to-head challenge for Miss World 2023, 2024? It's been a while for Miss World. Personally, I'm very pleased. I think that I have a little bit of a bias towards Lebanon. I'm really happy with her presentation, with her performance. But anyways, I will be reading you guys in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, drop a like, a comment, subscribe, follow, share, and I'll see you on the next one.